Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in for another interesting action-packed show this week, as we're going to be diving into the subject matter of you are your best paranormal instrument. Also in this week's episode, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel in order for spirit to bring their communications and wisdoms through. And then also in this week's show, we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. So as I say, we're going to be discussing the topic of you are your best paranormal instrument. So, with this being said, however, there's lots of technical equipment out there that is absolutely phenomenal and vitally important, I personally feel, where it comes to the pursuit of the paranormal and the world of the unseen there. And why I say this is because a lot of this technical equipment is fantastic for giving us analytical feedback and evidential information to give us that additional content so that we can research further in this field of the paranormal work. So I would say it's part of the process having these devices around, recording devices, EMF meters, there's various other equipment that I can't even fathom at the moment because I don't use many of them. I'll leave that to the professionals in paranormal investigations that I do attend. But I am aware of the equipment, and it is vital, I find, that it does back up what spirit are bringing through, and it's nice to see that evidence there for those people that maybe aren't aware of their true sensitivity enough to witness this. Anyway, what I say, you are your best paranormal instrument. So with all that being said, I want to remind you all that you are a transmitter and receiver of information. And so when you bear that in mind, you will start to recognize that when you have a thought, you send that thought out into the ether, and also you can pick that thought up and also communicate with energy in this fashion. We're all designed to do this. Some of us have gotten out of the habit, or at least been conditioned not to behave and think in this way anymore. However, this is who we are. This is what we are. And with saying that, your senses will point you in the right direction. And you'll start picking up on shifts in the atmosphere. Your senses will give you that feeling. And we've all been there when we've just had a feeling, we're knowing. We can't put our finger on it, why we know, but we just know. And we trust that knowing, and that knowing doesn't move until we accept that that is the case. I would say as well that we all pick up, everybody does this, but most of us don't acknowledge it to the level that we're doing, maybe on a paranormal investigation. And this is the magnetic energy in and around you. Spirit use this form of intelligence in order to manifest and come forward. And many of us will pick up on their energy trails and the frequencies that they leave behind. And what I mean by this is, how many times has everybody who's listening to this walked into a room and all of a sudden you've got goosebumps? Your hairs stand up on end on your forearms and the back of your neck there. You also get that tingly feeling, and you may experience that shiver going down your spine and right up to your neck there, and it makes you judder, doesn't it, physically? Well, what you're experiencing there is magnetic energy from spirit. It could also be residual energy connected to the location, either emotions in that location. But we've all been there. We've all felt that tingle. And I know quite a few sensitives and mediums that also, when they do work with spirit, they get this as an indication that something is true, that something is right, something is correct. Their spirit guides will often put that tingle on them when they're talking about a subject, and to let them know that that is correct, that is right, that is the truth. So energy can work in a beautiful way. And when you're aware of it in this fashion, as some mediums that I know are, then you can use this to your advantage to get yes and no answers. Obviously, if you're not feeling that tingle, that is a no. If you're feeling that tingle, that is a yes. So yeah, it's a great tool to use when you're out discovering energy and on a paranormal location, and different people that you come in contact with. I'm sure we've all had that experience where we get a chill when we meet somebody, or we get a funny feeling. Again, this is proving that we are that best instrument for the job. Also, what I would say as well, that some of us can experience head pressure, headaches, feeling sick, and temperature changes, particularly when we go in various paranormal hotspots and we walk in certain areas, and all of a sudden we might get stomach cramps. We might, like I say, have a headache where we didn't have it before, and it's just come on all of a sudden. Well, first of all, obviously, I'd like you all to check the environment. Obviously, if there's any gas leaks or any of the things like that, or maybe there's wiring looms, electrical wiring looms, or you could potentially be around a 5G mast or some sort of radio mast there or something like that. I want you to consider all of those things first, obviously, before you go down this avenue. But 9 times out of 10, your senses will not let you down. And what you will be experiencing is energy within that environment, perhaps left by previous occupants in all directions of time. And you're picking up on those energy trails and also those emotions within that location. Some spirits do take this opportunity to step into your aura, and with their vibration being slightly different to yours, it will add their emotions, their ailments into your vibration. And so for a brief moment in time, this is where you can potentially have these headaches, pressure around the head, feeling sick, and temperature changes, going hot and cold. What I would suggest, if you're out on an investigation with a team, that you don't keep calm and carry on this occasion. Communication is key. You do need to express what you're feeling, even if you feel ridiculous in saying it. You need to express it to the team, and then members of your team, if they're worth their weight in gold, will start questioning your experiences to you, and they'll ask, well, do you feel this? Is it still there now? Where do you feel this in that location? They'll ask you a series of questions, and that is vitally important, I feel, when you're on a paranormal investigation. Again, it gives additional clarity. You can rule out all of the other elements that may be occurring in that location, and also you can get to the nitty-gritty of why you're experiencing that. But what is interesting, and this is good to do as an experiment if you're feeling those things, is once you've described what you're experiencing to the team, then take a moment, go with one of your team members and move outside of that location. Maybe go outside or change your location, and then observe how you're feeling then. Are you still feeling sick? Have you got the headaches? Are you experiencing the temperature changes? And having a colleague at the side of you when you're making those references is very important, because again, this can also help with the assessment of that investigation. What I would then suggest is you give that information to your colleague, and once you've done that and you feel okay and all right to do so, go back into that previous location. just to see whether you have those experiences again, the head pressure, feeling sick, the temperature changes. And that is an amazing reference point, not only for your own sanity and your own abilities there, your own sensitivity, but also to your paranormal investigation team. It gives them additional content and information to add to that location and the paranormal investigation there. Also, have you ever noticed, has anybody experienced this when you've been out and about on a paranormal investigation, or even gone to somebody else's house, that all of a sudden you start to feel a sudden health issue, an ache or a pain that's not necessarily related to yourself? So you may start all of a sudden, you may notice your breathing has changed. You may notice that you've got an ache in one of your legs, or your back starts to hurt, or maybe you feel your heart feeling tight or around that area, and you're in physically fit, great health, and you haven't got any of these ailments or issues. Then I would say to observe your body. Your body, like I say, is an amazing instrument. And usually what I find is happening in these circumstances is it's when a spirit being that wants to communicate and tell their story to you and your team, and they're blending their energy, again, like we said earlier, moving into your aura and placing their ailments that they actually went through in their life, and they're placing those on your physical body in order for them to tell their story and also to bring forward their vibration so that they can communicate further with you. And what spirit will do, it doesn't matter whether you're sensitive, whether you are a medium, whatever, they will use the path of least resistance in order to make communications through you. It doesn't necessarily have to be verbal or visual. Their story can be told through emotions, through feelings, like we're talking about here. So again, I would recommend that you do have team members around you. And again, if they're on the ball, they'll start asking you questions. Well, where do you feel that? Are you okay? Did you feel it earlier? No, I didn't feel it earlier. Things like that. And you can get to the root of the problem, and you can start to then assess that information that you're giving to them further. Maybe not necessarily on the investigation itself, but it could happen after the investigation, where the team's collating all of that information, and actually what you're describing to them, what you're feeling, the ailments on your physical body, could have been one of the previous occupants of that location, and the ailments are maybe the conditions that took them over into the world of spirit. So again, don't keep these experiences to yourself. Yes, some of you may feel a little bit ridiculous and embarrassed about sharing what you're experiencing, but I would say nevertheless, have that courage to share it with your team members, because this could potentially play a vital role in the evidential information that's going to be brought forward from your team. Also, notice that you may begin to experience in certain locations repetitive thoughts that you wouldn't normally think of, or just appearing in your mind out of nowhere. And for whatever reason, you can't manage to shake them off. They keep going round and round and round until eventually you pluck up the courage there. And again, you share with your team members, I can't get this word out of my head, or I can't get this song out of my head. And just express that with the team. Again, this could play a vital role in your paranormal investigation, because the information that you're sharing with them could potentially be very relevant to that location, and could also add to the evidence within your paranormal investigation. So it's important that you are open, you communicate well with the team or the people, even if you don't know the team, because let's face it, we've all been on investigations where we've been guests with other paranormal events teams, and we don't know them, intimately in that respect. But we're putting our trust in them because they either have that expertise or they know the layout or the history of that location. So again, it is vitally important that you pluck up that courage and you share what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, any aches or pains or ailments that you never experience. And when you're in physical health and you observe your own physical body, you'll know exactly that, hang on a minute, this feels strange. This isn't me. I'm physically fit. At that point, that's when you share that information with the team. It could play a vital role in that investigation. Many of you experience this as well, seeing energy with your physical eyes. I mean, how many people I would describe on some occasions when you do see spirit trying to manifest, it almost looks like heat waves coming off of a road, on a hot summer's day, and you look at the road and you can see that heat shimmering off the road. I've seen that on various occasions when spirit are trying to build up and manifest. It all starts with that energy and it starts to shiver and shake, and then it starts to build up into a chalky mist, and that chalky mist then becomes colours. Those colours blend together, and then you start to see a form building up. That has been my experience of seeing things. But also, you may experience seeing flashing lights, maybe out of the corner of your eye, when your focus is on something else entirely, and all of a sudden you see, like, I would describe them as fairy lights on a Christmas tree, the flashing ones. All of a sudden, you'll see this piercing colour of light out of the corner of your eye. What I would advise you to do when you see that is quickly turn your head in the direction that you saw that flashing light and just wait patiently for a moment. Usually, you get to see that flashing light appear again. And again, in the location they happen to be. Most paranormal locations, particularly the old ones, do not have any electrical sources to them. They've all been disconnected, or potentially, if they're ruins, they've never even had electricity in them whatsoever. So I'd always recommend that you debunk it before you say, yes, I've just seen a spirit. It could even be that one of the members of the team is operating a camera or even their phone with a flash on it. Or, when you turn your mobile phone screen on, instantly it emits a beam of light, doesn't it? A flash of light. So again, I would rule all of these things out before you start to commit and say, oh, I've just seen a spirit, I've just seen a ghost. However, if you're in a team with experienced members within that, they will also take you through this process. Okay, where did you see it? What colour was it? Whereabouts was it? They will tell everybody else in the vicinity of that location to stop what they're doing, and they'll ask everybody, right, was you using your phone? Was anybody taking pictures? Anybody using any electronic devices? Because let's face it, if you're using an EMF a meter, a K2, I believe they're called, they emit quite a bright flash of light, don't they? Particularly if you're in pitch black. That light can be amplified. So by the team members, again, inquiring with the rest of the team if anybody switched anything on, anybody used it, and then they invite you to tell the team what you've just witnessed. And then that way you can, again, debunk everything else, rule it out, and then explore that area further. What I would suggest, if you do see any lights or anything visually, what I tend to do is I run over to that location where I've seen it and I stand in the exact point where I've seen that vibration. Don't be intimidated. Don't be frightened by this, because what you will notice is when you do that, again, you will feel that energy trail, what has been left behind by, if it is a spirit or energy there, you will feel it. You will feel that magnetic goosebumps, those chills, those shivers. And to me, when you do that, that is evidence, or that is information that you are correct. You did see something. You're not imagining it. You're not making it up. It is there, and it was there. And because you've walked into that energy there. So I would recommend that you do that as well. Also, how many of you have done this on a paranormal investigation where you're smelling quick bursts of fragrances? These can be anything from either something as gross as animal manure, or even a fire burning when there's no fire in that area. Could even be a perfume or a fragrance that you can't purchase anymore, a really old branded fragrance. It might even be body odor, really strong, vile body odor that you smell, or even feces or urine, an intense smell of that. And it could be the human variety that you're smelling. And it's a quick burst of fragrance, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And you're looking around, you're trying to locate where this is coming from. If there's a draft or a breeze that's entering the location, bringing that fragrance in. Again, always debunk your experience and communicate it with your team. It is vitally important that you do that, and then you can narrow it down, and then you can get others in the team to stand in that location, and obviously to, as a reference point, your experience, see if they can experience that in the same location like you have. I would certainly recommend that you wait patiently as well for these things to repeat. They don't always repeat, these fragrances, but if you wait patiently, you focus in on that area, then 9 times out of 10 other members of the team will have your experience as well. Also, how many of you have had tastes in your palate, in your mouth there? All of a sudden, you get this quick flavor. Maybe it's like an old-fashioned food that you can't purchase anymore. Maybe it's home-cooked food that you can taste, or something reminds you of a certain flavor that you haven't had for some time. Again, this is energy or spirit, or even the location replaying out those experiences on your senses. Because after all, as we're saying today, you are a transmitter and receiver of information. So when you're in that relaxed state of being, you will observe a lot of your senses heightening, particularly if you're focused in on a paranormal investigation. They're usually low-level lighting as well. So when one of your senses dulls down, the rest of your senses will heighten, hence feeling, hence smelling, tasting, and all of that. So potentially, again, always express this to your team, and again, take references of other people's experiences. This information can then be collated and added to your entire event, your paranormal investigation, to maybe look further after the actual event. And then this is where you can do the research of what happened in that land, the type of people that were there and their issues. It's brilliant when you collate all that information and all of the pieces of the puzzle start to come together. And what little incident you thought was irrelevant, such as, I got the taste of chicken, for example, you thought that was irrelevant. Actually, when you do the research, you'll find out that potentially that's what they did and that's what happened in that area. So never sort of play down your experience, share it with the team. And also, again, this is good when you have a team around you, but ideally it starts with yourself, noticing your own physicality and your own mannerisms, the way that you start to behave slightly differently. Maybe the way that you're speaking to the rest of the team has more of a sharper tone to it, or you may be quite abrupt in your communications all of a sudden. And this is completely out of character for you, because maybe you're really relaxed, down to earth, chilled out type of person. And then all of a sudden your persona changes very rapidly, and it's very noticeable to the rest of the team. They also may notice the way that you're holding your physical body. You may be walking slightly different, or have a swagger in your walk, or maybe you're gesturing more with your hands. And normally that's something that you don't do on a daily basis, yet all of a sudden here you are, you've changed your mannerisms, the tone of your voice has changed, and the delivery and the way that you communicate with people has changed very rapidly in such a short space in time. This is a great thing for all of the team to observe and make comments about as well, because what I've experienced on various paranormal events and investigations is that spirit will usually pick somebody out of the team there that they can blend their energy with and manipulate in some ways so that they can communicate and come forward, almost like a form of channeling, or some people call it a walk-in, where a spirit will take this opportunity to walk into someone's vibration and again live their life, play themselves through their energy of that host, I would say. So the fact that everybody's on the ball, observing everybody within that group, ideally you should be a close-knit group where everybody knows one another, everybody knows one another's behaviors, how they are individually and how they are as a person. And then that way that would give you the greatest evidence, because you'll notice these very sometimes subtle changes. Sometimes they can be really dramatic, and it's like the elephant in the room. They're very, very obvious. I've witnessed, like I say, on various paranormal investigations where this has occurred, and people have been taken over. They've been growling, they've been hissing, they've maybe been crying hysterically, and normally they don't behave like that or operate like that at all. They may have been thrashing their arms out as well, so that nobody could come close to them to stop this being or entity from continuing their communications through this vessel, because they want to have this experience within the physical body as long as possible. So if anybody comes near them, they'll thrash their arms about to get them away. So I've experienced that many, many times. So just pay attention to everybody within that team. Also, having an intuitive knowing. How many of you have had this experience where you go to a building, a location you've never ever been before, and yet all of a sudden you know that this room leads to that room, you know that this goes here, you know that it's very active paranormal wise in this particular area, and yet you've never been there before, you've never done any research or anything like that of the kind, yet you just have this knowing. That's an interesting thing to observe as well. And again, when you have a beautiful team around you, they will also comment on that, and they will ask you questions. How do you know that? Why do you feel we need to go there? And things of that nature. And that also can stack up and add as evidence. Potentially, you may have either astral traveled to that environment ahead of you going to that location. You may have had past ties with that location, maybe in a previous life or something of that nature. And that's why you intuitively know where to go. The list is endless of how you potentially know where you're going in that location. But I would say, again, don't hold back on this. Share it with the team. Express how you're feeling and let them ask you lots of questions. And don't feel intimidated by these questions. Just share your experience whilst you're doing that as well. What I would say that I've had various experiences using everything that I've been describing to you today, all of these encounters that I've had some fascinating ones at the Newsham Park Hospital, and that is in Liverpool. That is a phenomenal place. If anybody has never been there, I would certainly recommend that location. Again, you experience all of your senses. Even if you declare yourself of not being a sensitive, a medium, or a psychic or whatever, you will have some experience there of some kind. It's quite a phenomenal place to go. Also, the Denbigh Asylum, which is in Wales, I had some rather peculiar experiences in there. Moving into various old rooms and picking up the feelings, the ailments, the smells were there, even though the place had been derelict for probably about 30 years. It was quite phenomenal. And Edinburgh, I think I spoke about that, Edinburgh Castle there. When I went round the castle, it was amazing, as many of you may know that have been there. And I like to take a lot of photos very quickly because I was doing that because I was aware that this foreboding energy was in that location. Wherever I happened to be in that Edinburgh Castle, I just knew that I needed to get out there, see the tour, go on all of that, and then get out there as quickly as possible. So what I would say with all of what we spoke of today is just remind yourself that you are your best paranormal instrument. And so just focus in on yourself, do a baseline check in with yourself before you start the paranormal investigation. And then anything other than your natural state of being will be energetic or paranormal or spirit communications that are trying to tell their story through you as a vessel, as an instrument of light. Well, now we're moving into the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from Spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel in order for Spirit to bring their wisdom and communications through. But just before we do that, I just would like to ask you the question, everybody. Have you been noticing that over the past week, there has been a thinning of the veil between our dimension and the dimension of energy and spirit there? I know I certainly have. And I know that my sensitivity has increased down to the fact where I've been feeling overwhelmed in crowded spaces with lots of people being there and different environments. I'm finding that for me personally, it's been sensory overload where it kind of zaps and drains my energy in that respect. However, I do always put my protection up, energetic protection, wherever I go, but the energies are that strong at the moment that they seem to be making me feel slightly overwhelmed. Also, I've been witnessing a lot of spiritual activity in the home there, where I've had a lot of visits from spirit. I've seen various forms of energy balls, energy forming, spirit trying to form, and just this movement and flowing of energy in the home. It's been quite something else this past week. I just thought I'd throw that out there to everybody that's listening, just to keep a check-in with yourself in case you've been going through the same thing. But don't worry, the veil is thinning and you're all going to be safe and well. Anyway, let's move into this week's channeling from the world of spirit. So sit back and enjoy. We've come to talk to you about what's happening in your society at this moment in time. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of releasement, and a lot of new timelines being constructed for you behind the scenes. Now, from your perspective, it will seem like nothing is happening and you're treading water, and there's a degree of frustration that will rise up to the surface. However, we prescribe to you that you just go with the flow and just accept what is. And when you release that urge to judge or assess the situation, you're then releasing those attachments and stopping yourself from interjecting on your timeline, which enables you to become a perfect match to the greatest, highest vibrational timeline that is always available to you. However, there's a lot of confusion that is in your society at this moment in time, and you are observing the changes in your society, such as cultural differences, and also the way that your society is being run. Some would say run into the ground. Others would say just managed. We say that it is actually, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that is occurring, because for anything to change, there has to be a degree of releasement and also acceptance of what is. And when that vibration is in alignment, then all manner of miracles that you would perceive as miracles, but to us, we see it as vibrational alignment. But to you, or from your perspective, you would see it as a miracle, because you cannot comprehend the way that all of these elements have been put into place. So that is what is occurring with a lot of you at this moment in time. Like we say, there will be a lot of frustrations that you will be observing from your own perspective. And we understand that that can be very frustrating to you. What we would like to say on the matter with this is that just being in that present moment and accepting where you're at and what you're experiencing will help the level of comfortability as you shift into these new changes. These changes we speak of are for not only your betterment, but the betterment of society as a whole, because you will be connecting with a higher timeline. And you know that you have always got a choice. Whichever way, twists or turns you choose, there's always that choice. But by observing in this occasion will fast track you to that timeline where opportunities seem to come into synchronicity with you. Changes with your own personal circumstances in your life, emotionally speaking, romantically speaking, and also that of a financial and prosperous nature. You will find that a lot of you will be changing your occupation and the way that you create wealth and sustainability for yourself, simply by allowing. There will be a lot of discord along the way, obviously, but it will lead to this change of your mind, of your vibration, and what you feel connected to. There'll be a lot of confused individuals at this moment in time. There will be also a lot of individuals that choose to live and walk the path of ignorance, not acknowledging this change in frequency and vibration. And so they will carry on their day-to-day tasks and duties in the form of ignorance, not knowing that there's greater things happening behind the scenes. We say to you that this is an observation of those individuals, not a judgment, because as we've alluded to before, everybody has free will and free choice in whatever direction they wish to follow. Now, for some, it's a lot easier to carry on with the same old normality than it is to actually accept what is actually occurring and do this inner releasement work. We say, well, that is their choice entirely. But those of you that tread the path of following your intuition and following and observing the changes that are happening, not only with yourself, but with society, you will notice that this will be fast-tracked. This ascension on your timeline will be fast-tracked to those that choose this path. However, everybody else that doesn't, that is their choice, and we're not judging them for it, but we say they will arrive at the same destination. It will just take them a lot longer to get to that level. However, those of you that choose this path, choose to accept the changes, what are happening, and allow these personal developments and feeling these frustrations coming out of you, we would say that those individuals are way showers. You have to lead the way forward. You have taken that brave move and that brave choice in order to tread this path. There will be a lot of people that will gravitate toward you in time as they will see that your life is flourishing and flowing abundantly on all levels. A lot of them will seem to say and allude to that you are lucky, you are jinxed, you are magnificent. How are you doing that? We would say to you, please do not take any of these observations or words in your vibration. This is their vibration observing yours. We would just say to you to stay grounded, stay humble, and to stay true to your heart's devotion and calling. When you do and walk on this pathway, you will find that life will also flow a lot more easier for you. But going back to what we was talking to, about you being a way shower, a leader in the field of light, moving forward, you will notice people gravitating towards you. And we say, do not let this trigger the ego mind and get to your head. We would say for you to stay humble, stay truthful to yourself, and just don't be selfish where it comes to sharing your observations and your wisdoms to those people that are showing that interest in what you have achieved. We say this way you'll be sharing that love, that devotion, and that light, and those frequency and energy codes will be then transmitted on to those individuals. Upon their choosing, they can then tread and walk the same vibrational path or similar one with least resistance to what you have been walking on. They too will have more of an opportunity to walk on that vibration. But we say that this information and experience that most of you are going through, that choose to, we ask you to use and tap into this experience and the vibrations of it in order to help heal others around you and educate them on a new way of living. You will all observe changes in your society with your leadership as it starts to crumble, as the old version is no longer sustainable in these new vibrations. And those people that adhere to those rules and regulations will start to see cracks appearing, and it will uncouple their belief in a system that no longer has fluidity in your cultural society. Instead, what will occur is communities binding together and coming forward with an agreement which suits them in their neighborhood and in their area, so that they can live more harmoniously, thriving in life and doing what is best for one and all. And that respect and love is anchored into those regulations and boundaries that you are all going to be agreeing to set. However, the ridiculousness of what you're hearing on the grapevine from your so-called leaders will be that of preposterous amounts of ridicule and also indoctrination and abuse of power. You will see it for what it is, and as a society, you will not align with that energy. You will see that those in power are making fun of you and are taking from your vibrational pot, so to speak, in order to sustain their positions in power. They require you to bow and give them your authority and give them your energy. But if you do not no longer align with that frequency, how can you give them that energy? It will not be there for the taking anymore. And so for these institutions will start to dismantle, and there'll be a lot of, shall we say, chaos before it gets better. However, it is a necessary part where change is coming in. You have to get rid of the old in order for the new to enter. And so this is what a lot of you are encountering. And you will notice that between now and the months of August and September of your year of 2024, this will be on public display, this dystopia and this level of upheaval where people are no longer taking any nonsense because they see beyond the cracks that are occurring in your society management system. So we hope this information has landed and found you well, and that you can extract certain elements of wisdom that we share with you to help you make more sense of what's happening in and around not only your life, but the lives of those in your society. Show that level of love and compassion for one and all, because you will all have to go through this ascension in various shapes and various twists and turns along your path. But those that have taken that brave step and made that choice to consciously do the inner healing work and allowing oneself to be connected to what is, will find themselves flourishing a lot more quickly than those that do not. We send you our love and blessings, and thank you for allowing us to step in and bring forward this communication that we feel is a vital piece of information that everybody needs to hear at this moment in order to help them make sense of what is occurring in and around them. We send our love and we send our healing to one and all. Goodbye for now. Again, another fantastic communication there from the world of spirit. Fascinating to hear about their observations about the confusion in society, what's occurring at the moment, and the frustration that most of us are feeling like we're treading water and we're not getting anywhere fast. But also observing society's changes as well will also help us to be more present in our own lives. Because there's a lot of work that's happening behind the scenes from energy, from spirit, and this is going to help all of the vibrational alignments come into play into our own personal lives and also collectively as a society there, as all these vibrational alignments are for our highest good. But being present will help us to stay aligned with these frequencies. And it's not always easy to stay present when all of these changes are occurring with each and every one of us, but we're advised to nevertheless. And also connecting to higher timelines. This is what is actually occurring behind the scenes. It's preparation, it's the guidance, it's the vibrational alignment. And so if you are feeling a little bit stuck or like you're treading water, know that it is for your highest good and just to ride or weather the storm, and things will change as we're going to witness opportunities coming in for us when we allow ourselves to be more present and go throughout this period of inactivity. But actually behind the scenes, there's a lot happening. We're just not aware of it fully at this moment. But the allowing is the key to success, moving into these new higher timelines that we're all going to be affected with some way, shape or form. So I hope you enjoyed that from the world of spirit. We're now going to move into the next segment of the show, which is this week's forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead, and hopefully will inspire you to live the life that you truly desire. So sit back, relax and enjoy this week's forecast reading. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday the 17th of June 2024. Now those of you that watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers, and also what I'm going to do today is consult the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm going to do is shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's energy forecast reading. So here's your card for this week. I'm now going to link into the vibration of this card. First of all, my guides are telling me that this week is going to be a very transformative one for everybody that's watching this, but they're advising you all to keep things simple. It's so easy in this day and age to complicate things and over-egg the pudding, so to speak, but you're being reminded to keep things simple, keep things very low-key, and trust the wisdom of your heart this week. There will be a lot of mental instability that will be affecting your decision-making processes throughout the course of this week. However, you're reminded to center yourself, ground yourself, and connect in with your heart. The feeling tone, that will help you keep things simple and keep things flowing in your life. Also, this week, we'll find some old aches and pains coming to the physical body. Now, what I'm talking about by saying this is if you have any niggly feelings, particularly in the lower part of your spine, and you find that these are just coming up to the surface this week, this is in fact a message from your emotions and from your body giving you a message. So for example, with it being there, your lower part of your spine, it's telling you that there's some elements of your past that's coming up to the surface to be healed. And what you need to do is to remain flexible. Don't be rigid in your thought processes, in the way that you've always done things. I feel as though this is an invitation for change and an invitation for you to be more flexible. And notice that that niggling in the lower part of your spine will start to go the minute that you flow with this energy state and allow this new flexibility to enter your life this week. So do watch out for that. Also pay attention to you wanting to get out and about a little bit more than perhaps what you have been doing in recent times. Now, this could actually be, even if it's just a walk into your local town or city, just a change of scenery, just to change your vibration. And also what I'm being told is to mix things up a little bit differently for you. Now, what they're talking about by saying that is they're talking about a change to your routine. And this week will be the start of you seeing and noticing that occurring. Obviously, it is down to your choice whether you choose to make a change in your routine or not. But my guides are saying that it will do you the world of good because it will allow you to be more flexible. It will allow the universe to work with you a lot easier, and also the opportunity for greatness and new adventures coming into your life will certainly come in once you allow yourself to be more flexible. Watch out for yourself feeling lethargic, dizzy as well this week. This is the energy recalibrating, and also it sees you releasing some of those old thought processes, those old belief systems that you've been clinging on to for so long now. And so notice and also observe your friends and your family noticing subtle changes in your vibration and also the way that you see life this week, as this is an indication for change and to let you know that things are on the up and things are flowing more. But obviously it's down to you, down to self-choice, down to you making that decision to flow with your heart state there. In terms of your romantic relationships and your emotions there, this week will actually see you moving beyond being stubborn. So again, being more flexible, going with the flow, and also allowing yourself to communicate what you truly feel and not feel embarrassed about it or ashamed of it, whereas perhaps in the past you have done and you felt a little bit shy, yet you felt curious. This week we'll see you actually playing out that curiosity and asking questions to people, and also to your friends, to your partner, in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, this will see you being more inquisitive with people in and around you. So you'll be wanting to know a little bit more about them. Maybe you're attracted to them in some way, shape or form. And instead of just thinking it, you're going to actually take more action this week. So let's turn over the card and see what the card has to say. At the top of the card, it says 2 of Ariel. So I'd like you to research the angel number of number 2, as I feel that will give you some additional content and information. And I'm also being played that Phil Collins song in my mind that goes, 2 hearts living in just one mind. Apologies for the terrible singing there, but if you research the lyrics of that song, I feel as though this is in connection with your love and romantic life this week. Ariel, to me, that represents you being careful about what you're thinking and what sort of emotions you're transmitting out into the ether this week. It will see you actually, before you commit to holding on to a thought or emotional vibration, actually questioning yourself about that. Well, why am I feeling this? Is it right? This will have a detrimental impact on me if I allow this thought or emotion to expand. So that's what I feel that represents. So let's read into the inscription at the bottom, and it reads, it's important to have balance, working multiple jobs or projects at once, making work fun. Well, this goes back to what Spirit was saying earlier about keeping things simple, keeping life simple more so this week. And with doing that, you'll get more done, you'll achieve more, and actually you'll have that peace of mind. Whereas before, I feel as though you were bombarded with either ideas, other people's belief systems, judgments. Keep things simple and notice that you'll flourish and expand on your timeline there. Around the edge of the card, we've got the colour of pink. To me, that indicates your sensitivity. You're going to be more sensitive this week. So watch out for other people maybe triggering you without even realising it. They may bring up, put a song on the radio, or they may bring up a certain issue that you've gone through within your life. And with them bringing that up, it's triggering you in some way, shape or form, where you may feel a little bit tense, a little bit agitated. Instead of holding that in, it's an opportunity for you to talk about what's triggered you and then release that energy. And then you won't have to go through that anymore. Also, pink is talking about, I feel as though gentle. Be gentle with yourself this week. Stop rushing to try and complete tasks or projects to get things done. Instead, keep things simple, relax into life, and go with what you're feeling. Trust those feelings, as they are going to navigate you through into easier times there. Looking into the artwork, we've got this gentleman energy that is upside down, as you can see, and he's balancing on one hand, and he's holding yin and yang symbol, which would indicate balance there as well. And there's also like a crystal ball on the top of that there as well. So the masculine energy is talking about you having that need and desire to control situations and to be more organized. It's telling you to literally turn it on its head. Those, like Spirit have said previously, those old habits and rituals that you like to do on a regular basis, you need to change your routine and be open to new things occurring. And the universe will bless you with some wonderful opportunities once you change the way that you're living your life. Only slightly. It's just a case of changing it round there as well. It's also talking about balance as well and clarity. You'll have more clarity when your life is in balance: work, play, fun, family, social life, and just get all these elements balanced, and you'll notice that you'll feel more complete in your mental and emotional state by doing this. And there's something about having your head in the clouds as well, overthinking things, going into daydreams, and that you need to just rest, recalibrate, and go with the flow a little bit more so this week than perhaps what you've done in the past. So that's what I'm picking up for this week's energy forecast reading. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed this reading and you would like to help and support the work that I do, I have got a Buy Me a Coffee link either above or below this video. And so all of your generous donations will be gratefully received and used in accordance with the spiritual work that I do to help people raise their vibration on their spiritual pathway. If you're wanting any of my spiritual services, you can go over to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can book in with me on Facebook with my page, Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. Join me every Monday at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal and self-help on www.pulsetalkradio.com. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye for now. Well, it looks like we're all set for a very interesting week ahead, doesn't it? Where we're all given that choice to either make a change to our routine in order for our existence to change, maybe to a higher timeline. So very interesting. I hope that aligns with you and is going to help you some way, shape or form through the course of this week. Well, thank you for tuning in once more, and I hope you've enjoyed this show as much as my spirit guides, my spirit team and myself have had in bringing it forward to you, and that you can find some sort of value in the content and information that has been shared with you in this show. Can I remind you all as well that I have got my new book, latest book called Inspired Truths, that is currently available for your purchasing. And you can purchase this from my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, if you feel inclined to do so. It is available as a paperback version, and also it's available as an instant download ebook version there. Can I also remind you, if you have any questions or queries regarding anything spiritual, paranormal, or self-help, and you would like some I would say some help, some guidance, or you'd like me to expand on the topic further, then please do get in touch with me by going over to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glennboddice@live.co.uk. And as ever, it would be fantastic to hear from you, and if you're okay with me to read out your questions or queries, or even if you have any experiences that you would like to share with the audience, then please do let me know in that communication. So whatever it is you're doing this week, I want to wish you a fantastic one. Just be careful of these energy changes, like the forecast reading has said there, and be open to change, maybe trying something slightly different, as this will help you to move into a higher timeline. It will serve your highest good there. So don't be a stubborn mule like I am most of the time. Just embrace these changes as they come in. So join me the same place, same time next Monday, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on www.pulsetalkradio.com. Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium